of practicing major 2 questions. Now in this first video, before we start with the question 1, it's very important that you understand the basic concepts, and that's why before starting the question 1, I want to give you the concept that you need and you must understand before you attempt and watch all my other videos. So this is part 1 video in which we will start with the concept those are fundamental for you to understand all these 27 questions that those are I'm going to give you in 4 different videos. So this is video part 1 and followed by part 2, part 3 and part 4. So you must watch this video very carefully, and especially what I'm going to teach you now. So the two concepts you must understand. First is list, okay, and then list of list. These are 2 fundamental concepts you must understand. If you don't understand these concepts, you will not be able to really attempt the 27 questions that you're going to prepare for your major 2. So listen very carefully, especially while I'm explaining what you see on my screen. So first I'll explain to you about list, and I will basically teach you how you can define a list, right, and take input from the user in that list. And then I will tell you how you can use loops to basically process the list, right? So there are 2 ways you can use loops. One is which I'm circling here, this, and in these 27 questions you'll see another way of using loops with list, that is I'm circling now, right? So these both are exactly the same, right? But you need to understand how you can write loop like this and then do the same thing like this in a single line, okay? And that's I'm going to explain to you first, and then doing all this, right, in a function. That's also very important, because if you don't understand the concept of function, parameters and return type, you will not be able to really understand these 25 questions. So that's why it's very important that you watch the next part of this video carefully to first understand this list part which I just described, and after that I'll go on to list of list. So let's start with this first thing first, list, right? So what is the list, right? So if you say A is equal to this, you actually are defining a list, right? So what will happen in the memory is that it will be created like this. List is normally created like this, okay? So it's the first value that you enter in a list, it gets stored on the first index, right? That is 0. That's where it gets stored when you do that. In list, the way if you define this is empty list, so it's got no index right now, it's just a box, nothing there. But when you want to add something to it, right, what you need to do is you need to append it. So you say append a dot append, right, and whatever value you enter into it, let's say you say 10, right? So what would happen actually in the memory is that it will be appended like this, okay, and the first value will be put 10 just like that, right, and that will go on subscript 0. That's where it will go, okay. And then if you add another value to it, let's say 20, it'll come into subtract 1, right? And if you say you are going to actually print it, then if you say a sub 0, it will print 10, a sub 1, it will print 20, but if you print a, both will be printed. So let's see this in action. So if I say a dot append, okay, and I say here 20, right, and then I print a sub 0, it will print 10 because that's where it is, right? And then I print a sub say 1, right, it will print 20, and then if I print the whole thing, it'll print a, it will print both of things. So if I go back, right, and I run this, you will see exactly what we're talking about on the screen. Here we go. See here? So this is printed 10, this printed 20, right? And the third print command printed both of them, right? Now if I go here, put it like this, okay? So when you basically defined this line, it created an empty list just like that, and name of that list is A, okay? And the moment you put, let's say, A 10, it put 10 in here, okay? And that's subscript 0, okay? And then the moment you put 20, it put 20 there, and subscript 1, okay? These are the two values. And when you printed this, right, it printed this. When you printed this, it printed this. And when you printed A, it printed the whole thing. And that's why you got this. Now you got understand now the structure of list. Now in order to process that list, you need loops. You can't process list without loops, right? So without loop you can't, because obviously you need to, when you somebody enter a value, first thing need to go into A, second need to B, and you know, I can't carry on adding append here, right? I mean, if I need to, let's say, add more lines, I can't carry on doing this append. So what I can do is I can put here while, okay? I can say true, okay, like this, and I can bring this under while, okay? And I can ask the user to enter the value, right? So how do I ask the user to actually enter the value? I ask the user just like I will first ask the user I would say, let's say, I would say, I could actually, because I'm gonna create a list called numbers, right? So it has more numbers. So I say numbers, okay, and then I say while true, and I can ask the user to enter one number, and I could say input, okay, and then I could say enter a number, okay, and I'll say when you are done, right? Or when you're done, you can just type in done, right? Okay, to finish, right? So this way, user enter a number, I'll take that number, okay, and then what I do is I simply add it to a list. Here we go, right? Now before I do that, because I want user to enter a number, and when user finish a number, I want user to when user enter done, if user enter a number, I should append it. If user enter done, I should basically not append it. By the way, I need to change the name as number, right? So I'm gonna put here numbers like this, right? So I should put a if condition there. If, right, let's say number, okay, equal done, right, equal done, then I should break this loop, right? Else I should just append this array, okay? This way, when user enter done, it will break the loop. Now the problem is when user type done, he may put D capital, and when I will do compare it here, it will be small, okay? So that's why we need to do another thing, and that is we will put dot, okay, and we say lower, which means before you compare it, you make it lowercase, okay? This way it doesn't matter what user enter, it will be compared with lower. Another thing user can do is put spaces around, you know, around done. So he can put space after done or before done, and then when you compare it with this done, even with after loading the number, it will not be equal because there will be spaces and it will not be equal. That's why it's better to do the strip. So when you do strip strip like this, okay, this will remove any spaces. Now doesn't matter user put the capital D, small d with spaces with here or here, it will be still considered done and it will break the loop. Otherwise it will add whatever user enter input, by the way, in PUD put enter into the list. So when list start getting created, it will be like this, right? It will be called number. So first time user enter something goes here, second here, third here, fourth here, and when user say done, it will break, right? And that's how we can very easily write a small program to basically take the values, and then you can go here underneath, you can come and print it, right? You can print what? You can print the numbers, and whatever user has entered, it will be all printed, right? So let's see this. This line will print it. Here you're not printing it, you're just taking it, and once you break the loop, it will print it, right? So let's see this. So what is the first value? 1. Ooh, what's that? A is not defined. Okay, sorry about that, because I think I put A here. It's not A, it's number, because you see here I'm taking this as a number. I need to put number here. That's the error. And the second, I want to put a little bit space here, so that you know when you enter you can just put there. Yeah, it should be okay. Now I run this again, okay, and I say 1 2 3 4. Now all that is going inside the, you know, when I say 1 2 3 4, what happened? It will be like this, right? It created this, okay, 1 3 4 and 5. So 1 3 4 and 5. That's how it is created. And now I'm gonna say done. It'll be just done, right? Done. Here we go. See, now what I got here: 1 3 4 and 5. There's one more thing you notice here. This is like, you know, this is quotation around it. What does this mean? This means this is not an integer, this is a string, because we need to process this string. So that's why you need to convert it into integer before we save it. So here when we append it, here we need to convert it to integer so that we can do integer function. So if I put here int like this, right, it will be converted into integer before you do this. So if I do this 1 2 4 5 6, now if I say done, it will be printed as integer. You see here it is printed as integer. Now we have now learned how to basically use loop, right, loop to actually process the array. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to I mean, this is one way to use loop, obviously, right? So you hold on a minute, let me see here. Yeah, so next thing I want to teach you is basically loop. I mean, you could do the same thing within a function, right? You could do exactly same thing within a function. So let's do the same thing within a function here. Here we do the same thing within a function. Hold on a minute. Here you go. Okay, so this, now what is a function? Function mean you can actually put, but what happens is if I need to call this, take this input again and again, I have to rewrite this whole code, this one what I'm selecting right now, again and again. So best is to put it under function, okay, and call that function rather than you know, this. So if I put it under function, I can call this function multiple times. So for function, what I have to do is I have to do def, right, and I can call it as user input, right, user input, and in the function you use the keyword def, right, and then you use the user function name followed by the parentheses. Okay, this function must return a value, right? Every function return a value. Okay, so when you call the function, it will return this to you, what, this number array, this number array. So that's why when you define it, first you need to move it slightly up above here like this, you know, so that it comes under function. Everything comes under function. See here, here we go, here we go. So this is all basically now indented, come under function. Now you need to return a value where, after the while is break. So this is where the while is, right here, this is while. So here when the function under the while, when the within the function, you need to return what, you need to return this array, because you are making this array. So otherwise the user will not get this array. Return function always return when return something, right, when you call it. So how do we call a function? We simply call a function. We say, let's say L equal to user input, right, like this. When we call the function, we call it by the name. So here, what's the name of this? User input, right? That's the name of it. So we call it by the name. There are no parameter in this function. We're not passing anything. Some function you pass parameters because they can be used here inside the function program, but this doesn't take any parameter. I'll give you an example of how you can pass a parameter even in this function. So, and second, when you call it, it will return whatever it is at the end of return a. So what this function will return? This function will return you this numbers string that is entered by the user. So you need to save it when it returns it. So you can say L is equal to user. So when this is returned, this will be saved into L. And then you can print L like this, right? You can print L like this, and it will print whatever user has entered. So let's run this. Okay. Ooh, we got an error, right? So let's see what the error is. Indentation. Yeah, see, it's indentation error. So we need to actually make sure we follow the indentation. So here, this has to be here, okay, not there. Here, 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 like this. Now it is right indentation, see, like this. Okay, so 1 2 4 5 7, and I said done, and this will return this. It'll go into L, and I will print it. You see here, this returns this, right? This function, it goes into L, and we are printing L. Another way to print L is without saving it. You could do it, right? So you don't have to save it. So you could actually basically you can directly print it. You don't have to save it. See here, if you say print, you can directly print it, and then you don't have to do this. You don't have to do L. So now whatever is entered, it can directly print it, but obviously it's not saved anywhere, right? It's directly printed on the screen. Here you go. See this, whatever, when when this number is returned, it is directly printed with this command. Okay, so you must call, and this call the function as well, right? This call the function as well. And sometimes when this value is returned, we need to pass it on to another function. Okay, for example, user enter a value, and you let me first tell you about the parameter, right? Let's say we want a value to be returned which is less than a certain number. So we can pass a number here. Let's say we can pass NUM, we'll call it N, or we can call it target. We give it a target number, and we say only return a value which is greater than 5, right? So only do not return a number. We can say, okay, we can say here that if target is greater than 5, right? Add it. Now what happens is it'll only add into the numbers if the target is greater than 5, right? So when we call this, we pass here. No, sorry, not target is greater than 5. We say a number is greater than 5. Target. This is the best way to do it. So this way what happens is that when you call the function, you pass a parameter. You pass, let's say here, 6, right? This 6 will go into the target here, right? Because you define a parameter when you define the function, and then when you call the function, you must pass a parameter. 6 will go here, and here when user enter the number, if the number is greater than 6, right? Because the target is 6, because you put a 6 here, right? If the number is greater, when you call the function greater than 6, only then it will enter it, otherwise it will not. So now only list will have number those are greater than 6. So let's see. So for example, if I enter 4, this is not greater than 6, it will not add to the list. Oh, sorry, this is what greater than is not supported. Not supported between instances. Oh, this is a string and this, so I need to convert this into integer. This one actually, because this is not converted into integer, it's still a string. So I convert this into integer because this target is integer, so this needs to be integer as well. Okay, now it'll be okay. 4 5, so 4 or 5 less than 6, right? I said 6, right? Because it's not greater than 6, it will not add it. I put 7, it will add 7. Okay, and I add 9, it will add 9, and I said done. Now I entered these 4 numbers, right? But it will only put these 2 in the list, because here I said if number is greater than the target, and what is target I'm passing 6, so target is 6. If the number is greater than 6, only then it will add it, append it, right? So it'll add only 7 and 9, right? So if I say done, it will print 7 and 9. See here, 7 and 9 only. Why? Because that's the only thing I did. And this is the parameter passing in the function. So when you define a function, you can pass any parameter and you use it within the function. That's the whole purpose of it. Hope you understood it. So we don't need this one. I just did this to explain you how the parameter works, right? Now, this is the function, parameter, return type, you understood it. 3 things I explained, right? Now, the 4th thing I want to explain you, that sometimes you can return a value, okay, by actually what you call it, using a loop, right? So let's say we receive this that's how, by the way, you actually define a function to get the input from the user. So this was the first question as well. If I will look at it, right, the first question here, if you look, we're done with the first question as well. How to actually get a value from the user. This is the first question, and we have understood it, how to do that. All right. Another thing, before I move to question 2, I want to actually also explain you another concept, right? So you see here, we can define a list with the loop. So we can use the loop entered by the user and we can process it, right? We can actually process it. What we're doing with the target, we can do it with another function. So we say we call it another function, def list with loop, okay, because we are processing it, and we call it function 1, okay, because I'll define 2 functions there and tell you the difference between the 2. And what I want to do is I want to take this list that is taken by this function, right, by this function, and I want to pass it to a new function I'm defining. This is very important concept, guys. This is not in the questions, but if you don't understand this concept, you won't be able to understand those questions. So this is very important that you understand what I'm saying here. So here I say number, because that's what I need to pass, a list. I want to pass this list to this one, and then what I want to do is I want to process this using a loop, and I want to create a new list from the list entered by the user. And what I want to do is I want to create a new list. Let's say I want to call it n. Okay, this new list I want to call it n, empty list, and I want to use for loop. Okay, I want to say for I in I want to use the same actually n. I want to say for n in number. Okay, and I want to say if n mean that whatever is in the number is greater than 6, okay, then you add it to the n dot append. I mean, you just add it to the new list, new n, this empty list, okay. And if it is not greater than number, it will not add it. So now I use this loop, okay, and obviously this is a function, so I need to return the new list, okay, n, which obviously I can print here when I call it. So now I have 2 functions. As you can see, there are 2 functions, not 1 function. There's one function here, okay, where user is taking input, and the second function is where I'm taking this as a parameter, and then I'm creating a new list which is greater than 6, right? And the reason I'm explaining you this, because I will do the same thing differently, because the way it has been done in those 27 questions. So that's why it's important that you listen to this. So now when I call this function, first I will call this a is equal to user input. So this will give me, what this will do is this will call this function and take a list. It will return this list numbers. It will be saved in a, okay. Then I pass this a into this number, okay, and then I'll create another list n which is greater than 5. So what will happen here is that it will take a list, then I use this a and I say list with loop 1, and I pass this a to it, okay, and this will give me a list which is less than that would be list b, right? It will return n, isn't it, which is greater than 5, right? So I can print both a and b, okay. I can print a, okay, a is 1 entered by the user, right? Okay, a comma a, Okay, and then I will print another one b, which is processed by the function return by list with loop function. Okay, this is the second one. Or maybe I don't need this, I just say print a and b, you'll understand it anyway. The first one is the a entered by the user, and second one is returned by the function here. This is easier, right? B, see here, this is a, this is the user will enter, right? Then I pass a into this function, and it will be processed by this, right? Within the loop it will only add what is greater than 5, so new one will have only values greater than 5b. So I'm printing both, right? So let's do this. I'm just wanna do this. Okay, I run this. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. Okay, so here I enter 1 less than oh, what's that? A target is not defined. Okay, I use the variable target and it's not defined. Why is it not defined? Which line? All right. Oh, because we are not doing this, right? So we are just not doing this anymore, because we're just taking a list. I'll put else here. Okay, because we're just appending it. We're not saying greater than 5. In the first list I will add everything. In the second list I will do this, right? So I will do this here. Yeah, so first list will be all the numbers I entered. Here you go. So I say 1 3 3 5. Now these are 3. I'll add 3 values, those are greater than 5. 7, okay, 8 and 9. Now the first list will have all the values, but the second list will have only 7 8 9, because that is the new, and I'll say done. Ooh, what's that? A list with loop. I actually also made a mistake with the name here. You see, when I call this is what I need to call, right? Sometimes it's better to copy paste so you don't make spelling mistakes. Here you go. Right now it will not give an error. Sorry about that. Okay, here we are. I'm gonna do again 2 4 5. Okay, these 3 values are less than 6, so in the new list only 8 9 will be entered, 2 values. Okay, done. Here you go. See, the first list, all the list, and the new list only 8 and 9 because of this function. Now one more thing, last thing I want to explain you about this function, right? So what I did here, you probably will see this a lot. This, you see this, what is in the green, you'll see this way of returning a lot, a loop within in front of the return. I just want to explain you what is this. Okay, this actually, what we're doing here, right, can be done with this loop, right? I'll do another loop 2, functional 2, and I will basically write the way, you know, in the rest of the question is done. So I'll call it list with loop 2. Okay, this is my second function, and I will basically give you a little comparison of doing same thing 2 different ways. So instead of basically doing what I'm doing here, right, let me pull it up. Okay, instead of doing this thing, what I'm doing here, all of it, right, I can do the whole thing in one line. This thing, how? I don't need to define n like this, right? I can say n is equal to, all right, n is equal to what? N is equal to same line. I could do this, okay, like this. You see, you do this like this, okay, and this whole loop you can put within this here. Okay, this whole loop, what are you doing here? This thing you can put within n. How? Look, watch me doing this. I say for n in num, okay, for n in num, like this, okay, and what then I say and then obviously you have to do this n like this, right? N for n in num, then you put this one there, okay, forget about this. Let me actually step by step do this. Copy this one here. Let's better copy this one here, so you know exactly what is happening. Okay, copy this one here. Okay, and then you want to put this condition, right? So you put a space there. You say if n greater than 6. Okay, now you done this one as well, right? This one, you done this one here. Look at this one here. Okay, then you done this one here in front of it without these dots. Okay, now for this one append, you just need to put here n like this. Okay, and your job is done. You could do the same thing what you did here in multiple lines like this, right? You can do it in a single line like this. Okay, now this is, see, that's why this thing here, sorry, this thing here is exactly same as this thing here. You see? Okay, see this for in here. Okay, this thing is here, and then instead of doing this, sorry, append, we just put n there, right? And it will be, it can be saved or returned. So I am doing here is I'm basically saving it in n, right? And then I can do return n. I can do that, right? And here instead of calling this function, I'm going to call this function now 2, right? This 2 function here, I will just need to change here 2, right? Now it will not call the top function, but it will do exactly same what the other function did. So here, look, watch me doing this again. I'll put the same values. What was that? 2, 3, 4, and then I said 8 and 9 and done. Okay, and here we go. You see here, exactly same output, no difference. So technically speaking, there is no difference between, and in the remainder of this question you'll see this a lot. I mean, you see this a lot. Let me actually, yeah, do this. Yeah, you'll see this a lot, this way of doing things, right? Return, in front of return you'll do. So we don't even need to do this. Okay, we can directly shift this here and it will return it. We don't need to save it. So in the actual remainder of the 27 question, you'll see return like this, doing like this. So technically speaking, this is exactly equal to what this is exactly, actually, instead of doing this, right, you could actually do just this. Okay, now you can pause this video, right? Pause this video and see how, right? I'm going to explain you one more last time. See this for, okay, you shift it here, you see, like this. Then this condition, okay, you shift it after that without any, just a space, right? And then you put these brackets around, and this n, append n, you just put n here. That's it. N dot append n, and you don't need to even define this because you are just directly returning it. So it will basically create a list and return it, right? Instead of defining a list and, you know, adding to it. So that's how these lines, and you'll see these lines, and you know, now you will hopefully understand this, right? How this is done, because this is a very important thing for you to understand. So now we have covered this one and that one, and we have covered this all in function. So you understand now how to define, take a value, what does this mean, and also functions, right? Next thing I want to, before I move on with my questions, and the most important thing I want to explain to you, how you can create a list of list, because that's something you will have to do in those 25 questions as well. So see here, when let's forget about this and let's focus on the only function that we have done there, and that is this function here, right? This function. So if I say if I say A is equal to, right, user input, okay, that is just a list. Okay, what is a list of list then? List of list means that you basically create two lists, okay, list within a list. So for example, this will create a list, right, like this. What if you want to create another list at each index, like this, right, like this? That's list of list, which means within your list there is another list, okay, like this. That's list of list, okay. And the way it works is you can call this list, let's say L, okay, and this is 0, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, okay. And here you can put within that 1, 2, okay, here you can put 3, 4, here you can put 6, comma 7, comma 8, okay, 8, here you can put 9, and here you can put 10. That's basically a list of list, okay. So if you say L sub 0 and print it, right, what it will print? It will print this one, right, this one, 1 2 1 2. L sub 1 will print 3 4. L sub 2 will print 6 7 8. But what if you put another bracket here and you say 0 and here you say 1? Now this is 0 and within that denotes the second list. So this is 0 and this is 1, okay. So 0 refer to this one and this one refer to this 2. So it will print 2 because you're pinpointing within the list of list. Similarly, this is 1 0 and 1 1. This is 2 0 6, 2 1 and 2 2. So 2 2 is 8. So if you put here 2 and here you put 2, it will print 8 because this is 2 and within that is 8 is 2, right. So this is called list of list. So if you want to save something like that, you need to create a double dimension sort of list, and then you need to take every time every one list will be saved like this. So for that you need to use a loop, right. So for example, here I will say for I in range, okay, and I say 0 comma let's say 3. So which means I can create a list of 3, and then what I can do is I can just put under here like this and I say append, okay, and I will do simply this, okay, like this, right. And within that I obviously have to do this, right, I. So I sub 0 first, it will put whole list in it, right. So now this will create like this, right, this loop will run like this, okay. First when the loop run, it'll come to I sub 0, okay, and I sub 0 it will do the append in that, but it will call this function and this function will get the whole list, right. So let's say it will get 0 1 2 3 blah blah blah, it will go here, then it will go on to I will become 1, it'll come here, I will become 2, it come to 2, right, that's it, because 0 1 and 2, because it will not go to 3. So it will come here, this is 1, this is 2, and here you can create the full list, right. And when you print, it will print list of list. So let's run this and see this, right. This is called list of list, okay. Here I need to put this like this, and is not defined. So why not is defined? Because I have to actually define the list before I can take it, right. I have to define list like this, right, and then I can take values in it. List out of index. No, I don't have to actually do this. I don't have to do I can just do a like this. Yeah. See, I don't have to do I here because it'll just automatically create index, because you don't need to do a sub. You say a dot append. That's my mistake here. You don't, when you add it, you don't say a sub I, you say a dot append, and it will first, it will, when it create like this, the first value go into 0, then 1, then 2, like this, like the way I explained it. So I'm gonna put this here, 1 2 3, and done. This is my first list. It will go to a sub 0. Okay, then it'll continue, right? How many times? Because I said 0 1 2, say 3 times. Now then the next value is going to go to, see here, it will do 3 times. So 0, this will go into 0. Now this I'm going to put here 4 5, and I say done. This will go into 1, and then last is 2, right? So I say 4 45. Oh, sorry, my bad, I should not have entered empty space there. So this is 0. Okay, done. This is 1, done, and this is 2, done. See, oh, I didn't print it, sorry, I should print it as well, isn't it? Here I say print a. I should print so that you can see it as well. Here you go. So this is 1, this is the first subscript, a sub 0. Okay, then a sub 1, then done. Okay, then I'll do 50 60, last will be the heavy one, right? 56. This is going to the a sub 2, and that's it. Here we go. See here, list of list, a sub 0, a sub 1, and a sub 2. So this is, that's how it's created, right? List of list, and like this, right? So the first list here, the second list here, the third list here. See, that's what it is. First list, this is second list, and this is third list here. And this is called list of list, because this is a L, and within each there is a list of list, and you can actually, that's how you can define it and do it. So I think with this I have explained you the basic fundamental concepts of lists, loops, and I think you're good to go now, right? And just one more thing I want to do. If you want to create a list, I think the rest is explained, and I mean the rest of the things are explained in the remaining of the video. So that's pretty much it. I hope you understood this. Now we can go back to the questions, and I've done this question 1 already. So I'm going to go to question 2. Question 2 is simple, where I already explained. If you look at it, right? So this is already, you take the value from the user, and here it says write another function to find the sum of all elements. All you have to do is create a function, pass this parameter to it, and return the sum of that list, because you take this list, right, like this s, and then you pass it and return the sum. That's very easy. All I have to do, if I go back there, right, and I have to just, I have this function already, so I'm not going to redefine it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define another function. Let's say define what is the function called? You can call it it's called basically sum of elements of list, sum of elements, right? And what you do, you pass a number list in it, right? And then you just return, okay, sum of what? That list. That's it, number list. And then you call it, you can directly, by the way, call it as sum of elements, okay, and then elements, and then you pass your instead of pass, you can actually directly call user input here, right, which will actually pass when you call this function here directly, you see here this function here, this one, yeah, you can directly call this function, or you can call this function outside. You can do this, sorry, so let's call this function s is equal to user input. Let's do this rather than doing this, right? And I pass s here, okay, and then it will return the sum, which I can directly print by saying print. I can directly print it. Now it will print the sum of whatever I call this. It will give me the list, and then I pass this list here to this function here, and it will return me the sum, which I'm directly printing. So if I do this, here we go, I'll get the sum of elements. Done. See, 15. So give me the sum. This gives you the sum. And the question number, what is the next question? The question number 3 actually asks you to find the maximum element. I mean the same thing, but write a function to find the maximum element in given list. So instead of finding the sum, you need to find the maximum element, and all you have to do is change sum to max. Okay, and that will return you the maximum element, right? You can change the name here. You can also call it here max, and that means sum will, you can rename it, right? Max of elements, right? Now if I run this, it will return me the what is the highest number, right? What is the highest number you see on the screen, right? 50. Okay, it will return you 50. There you go. See, it returns you the 50 because I use max here, right? Now what is next then? This is question number 3. Question number 4 is actually remove the duplicates from the list. That's the easiest thing to do, removing the duplicates. You know why? Because if you enter a list and you have to remove duplicates from it, okay, all you have to do is convert that list into set. Okay, how you do that? You just say list and then you convert it to set and convert it to list again. So for example here, I will do is I got this, right, elements. I say set. The moment I say set, it converts this, whatever the list is, it convert into set, right, like this. Okay, obviously you need to change the name of this function because this function is called remove duplicate. So you can simply call here remove. You can call it rm, remove duplicate, remove duplicate, rd, remove duplicate. So I don't have to write a long name there, rd, like this, remove duplicates, right? And when you return this, you say set and then you convert into list again, so that you get the list, because at the end of the day you want to return a list. Okay, so you get this list, set, do a set and then convert it to list again. So when you convert it to set, it will remove the duplicates, and then you convert it to list, you will have a list without duplicates. So let's do this. Because I say this, I put some duplicates, 5. Okay, and then I 6, and I 7. Now when I get this list, I'm done, right? I get this list, I'll have 4, 5, 6 and 7 because duplicates will be removed. Here we go. See, 4, 5, 6 and 7, right? That's question number 4, right? And then we have a question number 5. That's the last question of this video. No, there's one more, I think. Yeah. So what is this? It says count, write a function number and count the occurrence of an element in the list. Now in this one we need to give a target. So in the list we need to find how many times that target appeared. So we will simply call it count occurrence. I can call it CO. I don't want to give it a long name because I give it a long name here. You see here, count occurrences, because this is quite a long name. I just want to call it CO. Okay, short CO. And I need to give a list and also need to give a target there, right? Target, like this, right? And then I say number and return what then, right? Return what? Accuracy. It says what is the question? It says count the accuracy. So there's the count function with number, right? So there's a number dot count. Okay, count what? Count target. Okay, and that's it. It will count the target. Okay, it will count the target. Target means whatever value you pass. So when you call the list, right, you what you need to do is, now it's called CO, right? So I'll do CO. Okay, and S is the list I passed. Then I'm gonna pass target. I'm gonna say 6. So it will tell me how many times 6 appeared. It will print. It will return me what? It will count this 6 because 6 will come here. Okay, S will go here, of course, in number, right? And then it will count this 6. I just need to put comma here, otherwise it'll give me an error. You know, this is comma. Now it'll tell me how many times 6 appears there. Okay, so I say 5, 4, 6, 7, 6, again 6. Okay, 7, 6. How many times 6 appear? 3 times, right? Done. It'll give you 3. Here we go. See, Here we go, 3. So that's how it is done. By the way, you can also directly actually put this function instead of saying, sorry, I think I mistakenly removed it. Oh yeah, instead of, I want to tell you one more thing here. Let me do the last question, then I'll tell you this thing, no problem, because this is a last question, and then I'll tell you something amazing. Question number 6. Let's do the question. So this one is doing the reversed. It says write a function to reverse a list in place and return it. So all we have to do is call the reverse function. That's it, and it will reverse it. Okay. So we can call it, what do you want to call it? Here I named this function as a long name, isn't it? Reverse list in place. You see here? Reverse list in place. That's a long name. I just want to say RLP. Right? I just want to name this RLP. Not a long one, so that I can remember it. RLP. Reverse list place. Right? Reverse list place. Reverse list. Reverse list. That's it. It's gonna reverse it. Right? So what I need to do is I need to do reversed. There's a function here. Reversed. See here this reversed? I just need to use this function. REVERESED, and I just need to pass the list, and it will reverse the list. That's it. And I need to again convert it into a list. So I say here list like this, like this. So it will reverse it, and then I return as a list. Okay, I need to do this keyword list so it can return as a list, and I reverse it. Otherwise, because it reverse it and it return as a set, no, as a tuple, I think, and then you need to convert it into list. And if I do this, I don't need to do pass 6 now, because no, only this one doesn't take target, right? It just take number, right? This function, because it's just taking this parameter, and it will reverse the list, return me, and then print it. Wherever I enter, it will be reversed. Look at this. 4, 5, 6, right? 7. Now I done. It will be 7, 6, 5, 4. It will be reversed. Ooh, no, reverse. So God, my spellings are terrible. You see, this is REVERSED. REVERSED. Right? Here we go. This will be okay now. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. It will be 9, 8, 7, 6, 4. Okay, I done. See here, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4. Just last thing before I finish this video, I want to tell you something. Look, you are doing here, see here, you are basically calling this function, right? This user input, right? And then you're saving it in as, and then you're passing it here. You can do another thing. And I will do in some of these videos. You can actually, instead of us, you can directly copy this, okay, inside here, and you don't need to save it in as. It will be directly called like this. So it's the same thing, right? See, now it will directly call, and call this, you know. And I hope you understood what I did, and it is the same thing. You see here, it will reverse, no problem. There you go. See. So with this, thank you very much for watching. Now this is the first video. Then you have 3 more videos after that, right? This is part 1, saved as part 1, then part 2, part 3, and part 4. I hope you are able to watch all 4 videos to complete all 27 questions. So here I did question 1 to 6. Second video is 7 to further, and then so on.